representatives of their choice, whether the number in the districts to which minority groups form an effective majority is roughly proportional to its share of the population in the relevant area. That's all that I'm arguing. Commission Map 2 creates 5 majority white districts, 2 majority minority districts, 2 majority black districts, and the 2 majority black districts are 60.27 and 58.07 respectively. I think we can do better, and for those of you who, and I've read all of the testimony that people have put forth, have talked about breaking communities up. When you grow from 7 to 9 districts, some communities are going to be broken. And in fact, what I've tried to tell, because I live in a community that's been divided. I step out of my house, I'm in District 10, where my community is represented by the good senator. The other side of the road is supported by me. So that particular community, it has 2 senators, not 1. And it has multiple delegates that we did not have just a few years ago. So it's not as bad as what people are making it out to seem. So look, thank you very much for your work. I know you got hard things to do.
Our next speaker will be Mr. Roland Patterson.
Chairman Rockwell and members of the commission, good evening. I come to you from the Baltimore County branch NAACP on behalf of President Danita Tolson and all of the minority members of the community who are concerned for fair representation. In that vein, I wish to make the following 3 points in 3 minutes. 1, it is my belief that the original map that was drafted to support the ballot initiative in November 2024 was crafted by mistake. What I mean is that the Republicans pressured the majority of the county to create that map, and that was not disclosed to the voters. Therefore, the voters voted to expand the map thinking that it was a fair map. And unfortunately, I said it was a mistake. Unfortunately, it was not. To the credit of the council, after that was learned, they called for the creation of your commission. I think they're calling for you to correct the error that was made. And the correction, the only correction that can be made rightly, is ultimate fair representation. We believe that is the 3-1-5 map based on the demography of this county, which is essentially 54% majority and 46% BIPOC. We think 3-1-5 is a fair representation under that map. Point number 2, I want to flip the script, and I think you have to flip the script in making your decisions. Keep in mind, I'm saying the county is calling on you to do what's right. If the map, the demography was reversed, if Baltimore County was 54% BIPOC and 46% Caucasian, would you, and you were pursuing fair representation, you who are Caucasian, would you settle? What map would you settle for? I think that's the best question. What map would you settle for? Would you settle for 2-2-5, 1-7, or would it be 3-1-5? Finally, and I think that's the question you must marinate with, as we rush on toward the close of both your service and my remarks. Finally, I want to leave you with the power of the commission, the concept of a commission. I looked up on my telephone tonight what is the percentage of people that believe that Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK. And the measure was 28%. Yet that is the public line that lives today all these years later. Why? Because that is the power of the commission. It was a commission that made that determination, and we live with that decision today. We are going to live, I believe. Yes, the council has to act, but if you come up with a map that does not urge fair representation or show fair representation, they will consider whether or not they have to do more. Conversely, if you come up with 315, they'll be hard-pressed to justify doing something less. The great African, and I'm closing, movie producer Spike Lee came up with a movie title many decades ago that lives on today. His movie title was Do the Right Thing. That's what we're asking for, that you would do the right thing. Thank you so very, very much for your service and for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Before we get to our next speaker, I'd like to recognize that County Councilman Izzy Patoka has joined us for the meeting.
Hello, everybody.
All right, our next speaker is Mr. Keith Dorsey. And while Mr. Dorsey's getting to the mic, I just encourage people again, try to wrap up your remarks at the end of 3 minutes. Thank you. Mr. Dorsey, the floor is yours.
Good evening. My name is Keith Dorsey. I've been a resident of Northwest Baltimore County for 53
A little closer.
Hi, my name is Keith Dorsey. I've been a resident of Northwest Baltimore County for 53 years and served on the Council Structure Review Work Group. I am also the author of the Woodlawn Approach to Council Redistricting. I believe it is the only plan that preserves the 4 major communities on the west side of the county: Catonsville, Woodlawn, Randallstown, and Pikesville. 2 of these communities, Woodlawn and Randallstown, just happen to be 2/3 African American. What is the Woodlawn approach? It is adherence to the principles required in the county's charter. The council map must be drawn so all districts are compact, contiguous, and substantially equal in population, with due regard given to current natural, geographic, and community boundaries. The result of the 2 supermajority black districts, Randallstown and Woodlawn, and 1 simple minority district, Parkville-Rosedale. Supermajority districts do not represent racial packing, as some would claim. Instead, it recognizes that any redistricting on the west side of the county must begin with the southwest tip in Lansdowne. Filling up a district of approximately 95,000 people brings you to the edge of a large enclave of 127,000 black people in the Randallstown and Woodlawn communities. They are naturally over 60% of the 2 districts, so there's no more racial packing in those districts than there is in the North County district that is more than 60% white in all of the other plans. So as a result of the commitment to a community-based approach, this Woodlawn district includes Social Security, Security Mall, and Woodlawn High. We have seen how Security Mall deteriorated when it was placed in a district that does not recognize it as a key retail center for Woodlawn community. We also know that Woodmore is the birthplace of black political power in Baltimore County. Yet the Commission's iteration number 2 would rip apart Woodmore, split Catonsville vertically, and tear Lutherville from Towson. Iteration 1 is also problematic as it has a Randallstown District that snakes its way through from over Hanover Pike to below Wilkins Avenue and fails to recognize an opportunity district on the east side of the county where minority population in Parkville and Rosedale have grown to be a majority of the population. Finally, maps that artificially split the black enclave into 3 simple majority black districts, which bear no resemblance to the existing communities, dilute the black vote so that the higher resident turnover and lower election turnout rates in black precincts could mean no increase in the number of black members of the county council or even the chance of losing the 1 seat we currently have. And I want to just add one other thing. I was in the budget office when the first black councilman was there, and at 54%, his ability to argue was hampered by knowing that he did not have the strength in his community. I saw the difference between Ken Oliver and Julian, and so I think that it is important to have that larger amount. So again, I ask the commission to support the Woodlawn approach as a path to 2 supermajority black districts in the west and a simple majority minority district in the east.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. And just for the record, Towson has a zip code of 21204, and Lutherville has a zip code of 21093. Now we'll hear from Linda Dorsey Walker.
Good evening, all. My name is Linda Dorsey Walker, and many of you may know that part of the reason we're here tonight is because over 3 years ago, I started an initiative called Vote for More. Thank you. Those of you who are in this room who signed and said it was time not to fight over how to divide up 7 districts, which was the fight that some people in this room wanted to have, but I begged them to please join with me in trying to increase the number of districts in Baltimore County. They failed in their fight, and now some of them, since November, have been threatening to sue if we dare go through with the Woodlawn approach. But we're going to tell them we're not going to. I heard someone quote from a Spike Lee movie. You've been had, you've been took, you've been hoodwinked, you've been bamboozled, led astray, and run amok. I say we put effort into making the truth come out. The fact of the matter is, if you look at this room or you walk across the street to Walmart, 74 to 75% of this district is African American. There is a thing called packing, yes, when you improperly, yes, that's what's in the law, it must be improperly and intentionally done. However, if you improperly and intentionally dilute a district down to 50% when you see it's 75%, 80% black, then that's a violation of the Voting Act. I want you to know that the iteration number 2 is unacceptable. It takes Woodlawn High School and puts it in the Catonsville area, along with the new senior center, along with Security Square Mall, along with the Woodlawn campus of Social Security Administration. We can't have that. The people from Catonsville, I spoke with them last week, they said they don't want their neighborhood, their community split in half, and nor do the people from Arbutus. The people up in over in the central area don't want Lutherville and Towson separated, Lutherville and Timonium separated from Towson. We can't just draw maps to help get people elected. This nonsense has got to stop. Stop trying to bamboozle us, folks. We know the truth. We know that Randallstown is at least 60% black. Who doesn't know that in this room? Who doesn't know that Woodlawn is at least 74% black in this room? Then stop trying to tell us a lie that is only 50.2% or 52%. Don't try to pull the wool over us. We're smarter than that. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Mr. Joseph Palazzi.
Hello, everyone. I'm from-
Closer. Closer to the mic, sir.
I am Vice President of the Paradise Community Association. We are very upset that they want to take us and put us all the way up to Liberty Road. We're less than 1 mile from our county council office. They want to take Charlestown and put them all the way up to Liberty Road. Academy Heights, Dunmore Association. This is ridiculous. We have worked years with our communities and with the Catonsville County Council office and everything. And you are turning around and separating us. This is ridiculous. And we have had trouble. We didn't know about these meetings. We didn't know about the maps because we weren't notified. Most of the people in Paradise are older. They don't have Facebook. They don't have internet. And I see, it's very interesting, that all these meetings have been Middle River and here, but nothing down towards Arbutus, Catonsville. We're left out again. We need better communications. We do not hear stuff. I hate to say it, but Michelle, I've never heard of you from District 1. And I have been active many years.
Sir, no personalities involved in your speech.
I'm sorry. I'm just...
Okay?
I spent 5
Again,
years...
and you'll
Okay.
be cut off.
I've spent 5 years on Board of Education as a volunteer for Westtown, for all of District 1, for Woodlawn High School, and all of them. And I was active. But we're not going to be as active anymore if you turn around and separate us. I can't understand why you're going all the way down to Washington Boulevard and then taking us all the way up to Liberty Road. It's ridiculous. Why are we going north-south instead of east-west on some of these maps? It's ridiculous. I've turned in a letter from our community association. I think each one of you has a copy of it. And I hate to say it, we're against this, totally. And we'd like to have more communication and find out more. Because like I said, a lot of us don't have emails. A lot of them don't have Facebook. So how are you getting the word out to us? We're not getting it. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, just as a matter of record, each of the commission members is appointed by the council person for that district. All right, our next speaker is Ms. Helen Boston.
Members of the Baltimore County Council, elected officials, and residents of Baltimore County. I have lived in Baltimore County for 59 years. I was raised on Back River Neck Road, and I currently reside in Rosedale. My forefathers built St. Stephen's AME Church. My mother worked as a cook for the Porters, who previously owned what most only know as Rocky Point Beach. I have relatives who worked on the local farms for next to nothing compensation. My family has lost land as a result of unscrupulous practices by Baltimore County officials who sneakily described it as help. Both myself, family members, and friends have experienced police brutality, unfair housing practices, harassment, and discrimination in various settings. I've lived segregation, blacks living on one side of the road and whites on the other side. So it's sad to say that I am extremely familiar with the history of how Baltimore County has been operating in opposition of us, not having our best interests at heart. For far too long, minority members of this county has experienced repeated multiple injustices, partly due to the lack of representation by those who look like me. Too often, mistreatment and traumatization has raised its ugly heads via reduced funding, programs, overcrowded schools, currently Rossville Elementary, Nottingham Middle, and Overly High, just to name a few, and the increase in the number of trailers is a Band-Aid. By those who choose not to care and or choose not to adequately serve the needs of our diverse communities. MAP 1 is a prime example of what I just described. Though we've seen some progress, thank you, Senator Jackson, for the new McCormick Elementary School, revitalization of the Hamiltown Community Park, and for saving the only black yacht club. We are long overdue for more suitable change, and the Woodlawn C is a move towards this. We deserve progressive opportunities to reduce oppression and inequality for the current generations and for those forthcoming. From what I've seen, Woodlawn C is the only option currently provided that gives us a minority a chance at what we not only deserve but desperately need. Therefore, I respectfully ask you to search deep within yourselves and within keeping perspective of the jobs that you were appointed to do. Please don't push us backwards, but help us to move towards a broader solution that is beneficial to the diverse population of Baltimore County. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Ms. Karen Braithwaite Yarn, or Braithwaite Yarn, excuse me.
Good evening, commissioners. Thank you for your service. Good evening, everyone who came out tonight. Thank you for being here. My name is Karen Braithwaite Yarn. I live in Owings Mills, Maryland. I am a volunteer of Vote for More. And, oh my goodness, you may have to start again. My name is Karen Braithwaite Yarn. I live in Owings Mills, Maryland, and I am a Vote for More volunteer. I endorse the Woodlawn C approach map. With 2 new council seats up for grabs, the fight is not just about lines on a map. It's about power, identity, and justice. Minority residents from the east side of the county showed up in force to demand fair representation on 5/12 at the redistricting meeting. For decades, black and brown voters have watched their numbers grow, yet their political power has remained artificially limited. Despite comprising roughly 40% of the county's population, only 1 of 7 council members is black. For many in the room, that imbalance is no longer acceptable. At the heart of the issue is a raw, unspoken truth. Much of suburban Baltimore County was shaped by white flight from the city. Now that the suburbs are increasingly diverse, some long-time residents feel a sense of loss, even grievance. It's not polite to say out loud, but the resistance to fair maps is often rooted in the idea that representation is a zero-sum game, that if black voters gain, someone else must lose. The map is more than just a geographic document. It is a moral statement about who counts in Baltimore County. And right now, the minority community is making it clear they no longer accept being an afterthought. I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, we are not going back. We are not going back.
Our next speaker will be Crystal Mercer.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Crystal Mercer. I was standing before you on last Monday, Commissioners, making a mighty loud roar about our demand for representation for minority districts in the East. And today I stand back before you because I declared two things at one time. And I want to make sure I have an opportunity to clarify for the Commissioners what my position is on behalf of the minority community. I am asking for Woodlawn C to be the map that we adopt. And the reason why I'm asking that is because it addresses both the East and the West. It doesn't leave one or the other out for the minority representation that we are asking for. And I know that it may have appeared to be a little confusing and we appear to be somewhat divided, as someone put it last week, but we stand here tonight together declaring that we need minority representation on both sides, from the east side to the west side. So on this side of the Beltway today, on the 19th, I correct on the record what was stated on the 12th, because as the old folks told us, when you know better, you do better. Have a good night.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Ms. Peter Richkus.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. My name is Peter Richkus, for the record. I live in District 6, and I, too, was a volunteer with the Vote for More effort. Thank you, Commissioners, for your time and commitment to this public process, and to the staff for the transparency and support that they have provided. As a Fair Maps advocate, I support a 315 map because it reflects who we are as a county. Every resident should feel they have a voice in shaping county government's priorities and policies. Thank you, Commissioner Belcastro, for offering an alternative map that uplifts this goal. Baltimore County is 48% people of color, with over 30% identifying as Black, as you've heard. The butterfly pattern of racial and ethnic diversity across the county makes it clear fair representation is by county. There is a growing consensus on two objectives: sustaining strong Black representation on the west side and creating a majority BIPOC district on the east side. Commissioner Belcastro's Iteration 2 and the Woodlawn C approach and Fair Maps advocates all support these goals. But a 315 map goes further, expanding majority Black districts on the west side to 3, where the majority of the Black population resides. That would increase Black council representation from 22% to 33%, closer to the county's actual demographics. Some testimony has focused narrowly on redistricting principles like compactness and community boundaries. These are important, but we must remember the new districts will be smaller, each representing about 27,000 fewer people than today. And secondly, district lines may shift, but the identities of communities will endure. Council lines serve a political function. They don't define the true fabric of our communities. Shared culture, experience, and daily life do. The Voting Rights Act and compliance with it is not a guideline. It is a legal requirement. A map must ensure opportunity, even though it does not guarantee outcomes. A 315 configuration provides that opportunity more fully than other proposals. I ask the Commission to recommend a fair, lawful 315 map that reflects today's Baltimore County. It moves us closer to equitable and inclusive representation. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Mr. Albert Barnes.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Al Barnes. I'm a resident of Randallstown, Vice President of Kings Park Community Association, a participant in Liberty Road Gateway Committee. Also, I work with the Vote for More effort. I'd like to speak in support of the Woodlawn Plan C. The most recent proposed county commission map, proposed draft map number 2, appears to have various problems as it rips apart communities such as Catonsville and Arbutus, and other problems as detailed in the Woodlawn Approach C argument. The Woodlawn Approach C plan fixes those problems. Also, its districts meet the desired characteristics for districts, but compactness and contiguous, substantial equal in population, and have natural, geographical, and community boundaries. I believe those that create the Woodlawn Approach C did an excellent job, and that approach should be selected. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Our next speaker is Mr. Shafiq Hinton.
Good evening. Huey P. Newton once said, "The first lesson a revolutionary must learn is that he is a doomed man." That's the weight that many of us carry when we speak truth to power, demanding justice from systems that were designed to dilute it. But I stand here not as a doomed man, but as a determined one, determined to ensure Baltimore County's future isn't shackled to its past, determined to see a map that doesn't just look fair, but actually lives fair. See, this fight is about equity and refusing to let another generation be gerrymandered into silence. So Map 1 was a non-starter. Map 2 delivered us the framework, and now we have momentum. Commissioners, last week I said, stay the course, and you have. We saw the East Side rise up like never before, demanding long-denied representation, and tonight we stand with our friends on the West Side, making sure that their voices are heard too. We know that this process comes with tough choices. When you add 2 new districts, that means that some lines and communities will change. But if we stay rooted in equity and inclusion, those changes bring us closer to our North Star, which is representation. What matters isn't preserving old lines, but drawing new ones that truly reflect who we are today. That's how tension becomes progress and how doubt turns into belief. So in closing, President Obama said, "The arc of the moral universe may bend towards justice, but it doesn't bend on its own. It takes people willing to do the work. People like Linda Dorsey Walker, people like Keith Walker, Keith Dorsey. All right, I ain't gonna mess you up no more. But see, your work, it inspired others to join this fight. So while we may differ in approach, but we all share a common united goal, and that's to move Baltimore County forward. The ACLU map delivers 3 majority black districts and a BIPOC. That's an undeniable step towards equity. The Woodlawn map has 2 very strong black districts and preserves historic community lines. And then Commission Map 2, that offers us a solid 2-2-5 framework to build upon. We can do this. I haven't stood here to push one map over the other, but to advocate for a framework that uplifts all voices. Our council is in desperate need of diversification, and redistricting shapes that balance of power. But equitable districts aren't just about electing a person of color. They ensure that whoever is elected is accountable for the full diversity of that district. And that begins with a fair map, one with at least 4 minority opportunity districts, one that reflects today's Baltimore County, and one that finally delivers representation on the east side. That's the standard, and that's the opportunity before you. So don't turn your back on what you know can already be done.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ms. Dawn Musgrave.
Good evening. My name's Dawn Musgrave. I live at 15 Overbrook Road in Catonsville, and I'm here tonight to support the diversification of the Baltimore County Council through the redistricting process, and I appreciate all the hard work that you all are putting in. I know this is a hard job. That being said, there's still a lot of work to be done. Iteration 2, which continues to split Catonsville in half, as did the map presented that's known as Iteration 1. No matter how you cut it, your proposals divide a vibrant, healthy community in two, thereby diluting its voting power and disrupting the cohesiveness of a historic neighborhood. I have lived in Catonsville and Arbutus for nearly 50 years, always on the east side of 695. My children attended neighborhood schools. They and their children played on neighborhood playgrounds. We participated in the Catonsville rec teams. We attended local summer camps. We worship with local religious congregations, and we attend community events like the 4th of July celebrations and the many neighborhood music events. I gladly support the local merchants where I shop and dine on Frederick Road and in Arbutus. I shop at local grocery stores and attend our farmers market. Simply put, this is my home and my community. I and our neighbors deserve to have a council representative who lives in and understands the needs of our diverse and multiracial community. Whether you lop off the east side of Catonsville or the west side, you will put half of our community into a district where our children don't go to school, don't play on rec teams, and generally where we don't do business. And these are the things, education, business, and recreation, that matter most to voters and often motivate us. The division of community and dilution of voting power is unnecessary. There is a great deal of support in this room, as witnessed tonight and most other commission meetings, for the Woodlawn C-map. I would support a broader map, a whatever it is, the 3-2-1 map, or I can't even keep my numbers straight. Sorry about that. I would support that, but I would mostly want to support keeping communities together, and I think that's what the Woodlawn C-map does. It gives us the opportunity to have people represent us who live in our community, and, you know, if you lop off the east side of Catonsville and send us to Randallstown, you know, we don't go to school there. We don't send our kids there. It's nothing wrong with Randallstown. We like Randallstown. It's great here. That being said, we want to send kids to schools in our community and participate in recreation in our community. So I would urge the commission to keep Catonsville, Arbutus, and Halethorpe together, no matter what map you choose. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Musgrave. Our next speaker will be Ms. Sharonda Huffman.
Good evening. My name is Sharonda Huffman. I live in Essex, Maryland. There is some irony that 1 month from now is Juneteenth. I support maps that comply with the law. None of the maps are all the way there. You literally have 30% of the population, and you deserve 3 districts. Okay, so it's nice to have 2, but we can have 3. So I'm not going to leave money on the floor. Originally, we had districts, there was no east side representation. We actually live there. A lot of people showed up last week and they're here this week. Thank you. What I also want to say is, I heard some things about there is a big white district. Did you know 90% of the population lives in 10% of Baltimore County? So if you have 10% of people living in 90% of the population in North Baltimore County, you're going to have a big district. On or before November 5th, 2024, the people of Baltimore County voted to approve 2 more new council districts that take us from 7 to 9 in 2026. Does anyone really know what that means? Imagine if we had 4. Yeah. Would you actually live all together? Does your neighbor change? Because if you have a strong district, guess what? Instead of having 1 or 2 people, you have like 7. Okay, so it only combines things. So imagine when we go back to the drawing boards and get our 4 more. What's going to happen? Guess what? You're not going to be in the same council district. But guess what? You'll still have the same neighbors and stronger communities. Now, if black people are 30% of the population, why are we being told we must accept 2 black districts because there is a better one? Let's go to facts. If somebody don't give you the fact, look at the Voting Rights Act. Why don't you look at Cooper versus Harris, 581, U.S. 285, 2017. Senator Sidnor is not only your senator, he's also an attorney. So when I ask questions, I ask people who actually know the law. So therefore, if somebody tells you something, ask for the specifics. Let's look at another one. A district that is 70% minority may reflect an effort not to comply with the VRA. The U.S. Supreme Court in Cooper versus Harris, they struck down 2 North Carolina congressional districts with over 70% voting age population. Now in Baltimore City, are you going to get more than 70%? Absolutely. But the ACLU has already provided this council, which is not up there, maps that do provide us a, 3, 1, 5. I live in East Baltimore County, and guess what? We deserve our own district. What's happening is we are changing the dynamic. I heard at a meeting the other week, everybody's leaving Baltimore County. Well, we're still left, and we need representation. It is our time. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Kevin Hinton.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Hinton. I've been living in Baltimore County for 47 years. I grew up in the Lockern area. I've gone to Headville Elementary, Woodlawn Middle, Milford Mill. I've lived in Lockern, Pikesville, Randallstown, and now Owens Mills. When I came here as a young person, 6 years old, and we were in the schools were probably about 50-50. As I got into Woodlawn Middle School, things started to change. It was probably looking at more like a 70-30. By the time I graduated from Milford Mill, probably 85-15. So I say that to say that things are changing. The district is changing. The same thing that's happened here in West Baltimore is going to happen in East Baltimore, is happening in East Baltimore County. So I'm in support of District 2, in support of MAP 2, that's going to give diversity and fair representation to the citizens in East Baltimore County. This is needed. It should be something that should have been done a long time ago, but we keep holding on to these old ways. Well, new things are happening now. It's new change is coming about, and it's only fair. Like they said, do the right thing. We don't have to, we're up here fighting over something that should already have been done. You added 2 more seats to the council, and they want those seats to represent the people that are here today, So I'm asking the commission, when you look at these maps, to make these maps fair, make these maps reflect the community, make these maps reflect the change that's coming. The same thing that I saw in West Baltimore County is the same thing that's going to happen in East Baltimore County, and is happening, and they need representation.
Our next speaker is Ms. Jacqueline Fulton.
Good evening. Let me get to my notes. I live in the Seton Point neighborhood, and it's a 13-year-old community off of Liberty Road around Kellogg's, just above Northern Parkway. Okay. I live in the Seton Point community. It's in the bottom part of Liberty Road at Kellogg's and Northern Parkway, in that general area. I'm not sure which map I'm in favor of. If I had to choose, I would say the Woodlawn C map. I'm here because I have concerns. My husband was a state legislator, and you can give representation, but it needs to be with resources. Liberty Road from Northern Parkway all the way up to the Beltway is like a stepchild. There's no, we have a good council person, but we have no beautification of Liberty Road. It's, to me, a wasteland. My community now will be part of Woodlawn instead of Pikesville. We're literally about 1.5 miles from Pikesville, maybe 2 miles, and about 5 miles from Woodlawn. I feel that the way that all of the maps are drawn, we still won't get resources. And what I'm grateful for these hearings and redistricting, but we need to see results. It does not matter who's representing us if we get no resources. If I look at my community, I would say leave us in Pikesville, because most of what we do is in the Pikesville, Reisterstown Road Plaza, in that area. We rarely go west into Woodlawn. It's just the way it is, because the old Gwen Oak Park is there as a geographic barrier. When you cross over and go into Gwen Oak, there's really no stores, there's really no resources until you get all the way over to Weiss Supermarket or Security Boulevard. There are a few stores there. So I'm in favor of the Woodlawn C map if I have to choose, but my concern is let's have some resources put into the neighborhoods on the west side of Baltimore County.
Our next speaker will be Ms. Michelle Finzel.
Thank you very much. My name is Michelle Finzel. I represent Love Thy Neighbor, which is a community group in Owings Mills, and I'm here because I love Baltimore. I'm born and bred in Baltimore. I was born behind the Reisterstown Road Plaza. I've lived and worked in Randallstown, and I was part of the white Jewish exodus that brought me out to the Reisterstown, Owings Mills area when I was a kid. I love Baltimore County. I love our neighboring city. I love our culture, because we are a community of communities, all of which have progressed thanks to the strength that lies in the diversity of our environment and our people. However, for way too long, our local government has worked intentionally to emulate the imbalance of our national government, and in so doing has failed to adequately represent our local population. It is beyond time for that to be addressed, and it's beyond time for that to change, and it's beyond time for Baltimore County to be a role model for our state and our county by making sure that all residents, specifically and especially our BIPOC neighbors and friends, have an equitable seat at the table. As an overrepresented white person, I want to make it completely clear what my way too heavy opinion is, and that is that I want our county leaders to be elected by the people for whom they promise to work in service. And I do not want our leaders to be able to continue manipulating the boundaries in order to serve only themselves and their own interests. Councilmanic boundaries should promote inclusion, not encourage further division. Illustrious and acclaimed Black American poet, activist, philosopher, professor, and all-out icon Audre Lorde once enlightened us when she said, "It is not our differences that divide us, it is our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences." I support the 315 map because we need to no longer allow our inability to fairly represent our differences continue to separate Baltimore County as well. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Ms. Maureen Wambui. Forgive me if I mispronounced your name.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners, and fellow residents. My name is Maureen Wambui. I'm a proud Baltimore County resident, a first-generation immigrant, and I serve as a community advocate and commissioner on the Maryland Commission on African Affairs. Redistricting is not about drawing lines. It's about drawing justice into our neighborhoods. It's about ensuring that all racial and ethnic groups, Black, Latino, Asian, and immigrants have equal access to political power and public resources. Baltimore County is growing more diverse every year, yet that diversity has not translated into fair representation. Too often, our communities are packed or split in ways that dilute our voice and block access to decision-making. That's why I urge this commission to adopt a 3-1-5 map: 3 majority Black districts, 1 coalition district, and 5 majority white districts. This structure better reflects our demographics and meets the standards set by the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which requires that minority voters have a fair opportunity to elect candidates of their choice. Choosing a 2-1-6 map would continue the status quo: 6 white majority districts, limited Black and brown influence, and potential non-compliance with the Voting Rights Act. The 3-1-5 map isn't radical, it's reasonable. It protects voting rights, ensures equitable resource distribution, and honors the lived realities of a multiracial county. Representation isn't a charity, it's a right. And the maps you draw today will shape equity, access, and justice in Baltimore County for the next decade. Please choose fairness, choose compliance, choose the 3-1-5 map. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mr. Jason Glenn.
Good evening, commissioners and neighbors. I want to thank you for the hard work that you've done. I want to especially thank Commissioner Balcastro for coming to the table and being willing to work with community leaders, although the work is still not done. We stand here today at a critical juncture. By the way, my name is Jason Glenn, and I'm chairman of the Woodlawn Presidential Council, which represents 9 neighborhoods, community associations, and HOA inside the Beltway. A moment that will define our representation for the next decade. We're here to demand fairness, to demand our voices be heard, and to demand that the Woodlawn Approach CMAP be adopted. To my neighbors, let's not forget the injustices of Bill 4721. We were forced to vote on that map that we, the residents, never saw, never had a chance to truly understand, never had the opportunity to provide meaningful input on. That was a betrayal of our democratic process. It was a slap in the face to every resident who deserves to have a say in how they are represented. Now, we are faced with another critical decision. We have 3 maps before us, Iteration 1 and Iteration 2 of the Commission's proposal, which, like Bill 4721, fail to adequately address the needs of our community. They fragment our neighborhoods, dilute our voting power, and ignore the very real concerns of the majority African American and BIPOC communities within our county. The data speaks for itself. These maps do not represent us. But there is a better way, the Woodlawn Approach CMAP. This map was created with our community and for our community. It preserves our neighborhoods, protects our voting power, and it ensures fair representation for all. It respects the integrity of our communities, which we deeply care about. However, my neighbors, we must remain vigilant. We know that the county council still holds the final say. They still hold the final say. They have the power to disregard our voices. They have the power to ignore our demands and to pass a map that once again disenfranchises us. This is my very deep concern as well as my fellow neighbors, and is why our presence here today is so vital. We cannot allow a repeat of the past. We cannot allow our voices to be silenced. We must stand together united and demand that the County Council listen to the people who reside in this community. I'm demanding that they adopt Woodlawn Approach CMAP. My brother Martin Luther King said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at time of challenge and controversy." Commissioners, where do you stand? We are now in a time of challenge. We must stand firm. Let me be clear. We are here to ensure a map that provides the true representation of our county. Our focus is not on supporting any political agenda or aiding any election or continued tenure of any particular individual. We are here for the people, for the community, and for a fair and just map. We're not asking for special treatment. We are asking for fairness. We are asking for representation. We are asking for justice. And we will not stop until we get it. Let our message be clear. We stand with the Woodlawn Approach. We demand our voices be heard, and we will not be denied. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Sean McIntosh.
Good evening. I'm Sean McIntosh. I'm Sean McIntosh. I'm from Sparks, Maryland, currently District 3. What that gentleman just said is exactly what I'd like to say too. We are not here to listen to what the councilmen want. We're here to listen to what the people want. You have the hardest job, you really do, and I want to commend you because it's clear that you have been listening. Map 1 showed that you had started to listen. Map 2 showed that you were listening even more. You need a Map 3 that shows that you've listened even more. Woodlawn Map C, I think, does a really good job of meeting the needs. I think that there's some place in between. The 315 model is what you need. The people have told you that. You are public servants by extension of being appointed by the county council. Public servants are supposed to listen to their constituents. And so I ask you to listen to your constituents and do what they're asking you to do. And then I ask the constituents to write your councilmen and ask them to do what they have provided. Ask them to pass that map that they put forth, that map 3 that I'm going to guarantee is going to meet the needs of the people, because each time you've shown that you're listening more and more. Catonsville doesn't want to be split. I understand that. I lived there for 20 years. It's a strong community. I grew up in Lutherville, Timonium, a strong community. It doesn't want to be split. There are ways to do this where you don't split really strong communities, but not everybody's going to be happy, so you're not going to be able to please everybody. And we have to recognize that we can't please everybody. As long as we get to the 315, we will all be represented well by public servants who want to serve Baltimore County as a whole. The county councilmen who are saying, I won't vote for a map that does this, I won't vote for a map that does that, if they won't vote for it, then we can vote them out.
Our next speaker is Karen Williams.
Good evening. My name is Karen Williams, and I proudly serve as the...
Closer.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Karen Williams, and I proudly serve as the president of the Huntington Community Association. I am here today to voice strong support for the Woodlawn Approach Plan C map and to urge the Commission to reject the deeply flawed proposed draft Map 2. Draft Map 2 divides long-standing communities like Catonsville and Arbutus. It removes Woodlawn High from its namesake district and creates an imbalance. Some districts are overwhelmed with high schools, while others are left with too few. It also connects communities with no shared identity, forcing them into artificial alignment. Plan C, on the other hand, respects school boundaries, keeps communities intact, and reflects the true diversity of Baltimore County. It doesn't divide, it dignifies. That's why I support it. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, Dr. Martin Luther King. When lines are drawn in ways that strip communities of their voice or distort their identities, that's injustice. And that's why I support Plan C. It brings clarity, fairness, and cohesion. And while Plan C moves us closer to equity, a 315 map supported by the NAACP and the ACLU would go even further, offering 33% black representation and aligning more closely with the county's demographics. Let's move forward, not backwards. Let's honor equity, protect identity, and adopt a map that lifts every voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Paul Dungara.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Paul Dungara, a longtime Catonsville land use activist, and I'm here today to support the Woodlawn Approach Plan C. This testimony is supported by 188 submitted testimonies by Catonsville residents using similar arguments against Iteration 2. Baltimore County's primary tool for promoting equity is our master plan, which identifies 34 targeted areas for intensive development designed to address issues like our housing crisis, climate change, and the need to create an efficient tax base since it's eroded from decades of unproductive suburban sprawl. Given a councilperson's role in bringing this plan to fruition, it's essential that we evaluate how these targeted areas are distributed across council districts. As Iteration 2 proposes, District 1, which includes Woodlawn, is assigned 12 or 35% of these targeted development areas, far more than any other district and out of proportion with the responsibilities a single council person can reasonably manage. Two aspects compound this imbalance. District 1 is also assigned the largest population in the county, over 99,000 residents, or 4.3% above the county mean. District 1 would also be responsible for approximately 36% of the county's shared border with Baltimore City, which includes some of our oldest and most vulnerable communities. These neighborhoods face challenges such as aging infrastructure, chronic disinvestment, and socioeconomic hardships, which are challenges that require attention and resources, as we've heard tonight. For comparison, District 6 and 8 each contain only one targeted development area, have no city border, and yet both have fewer residents than District 1. Let me be clear, it is in every county resident's interest to see our master plan fully realized, to protect and enhance quality of life. A balanced, equitable districting map supports that vision by allowing councilpersons to govern effectively and focus on both revitalization and strategic growth. Our inner Beltway communities, particularly those along the city line, are some of the county's most efficient and vital tax bases. They deserve focused stewardship that can only come from an appropriately scaled district. I also recognize that there's been a call for partisan balance as a concern, but I want everyone to remember that 93% of the legislation passed this year was unanimous, as was all 9 borrowing ordinances in 2024, which totaled over $600 million of borrowing, the largest in our county's history. Our challenges are overwhelmingly nonpartisan. They demand a map that prioritizes function, not politics. Therefore, I respectfully urge the Commission to adopt the Woodlawn Plan C, which would shift 3 targeted development areas out of District 1, reduce its share of inner Beltway communities, and hopefully bring its population below the county mean, since it would still contain 28% of both targeted development areas and our city-adjacent communities, a fair and more manageable share. On behalf of the 188 Catonsville community members who stand with the Woodlawn community and the Woodlawn approach, thank you for hearing us.
Our next speaker is Rochelle Williams. Again, Rochelle Williams. Going once, going twice, we'll move on. Our final speaker tonight is Bridget Dumais, I believe, and forgive me if I mispronounce your name.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Bridget Dumais. I'm the political coordinator with 1199 SEIU. 1199 is the largest healthcare workers union in the nation, with our roots in the civil rights movement. We represent 2,000 members who live in Baltimore County and care for your loved ones in hospitals, nursing homes, and clinics throughout the greater Baltimore region. A vast majority of our members are people of color. Our union volunteered to collect petition signatures for the Vote for More initiative, opposed Question A because the map it created was unlawful, and supported legislation to repeal that unlawful map, which unfortunately that bill did not pass, but thankfully we're here today, and now we are continuing our fight for fair representation as a partner in the Baltimore County Fair Maps Coalition, supporting a 3-1-5 redistricting approach. This framework is the only way for Baltimore County to truly comply with the Voting Rights Act and ensure fair representation across the whole county. Everything that happens in the healthcare industry, from staffing to wages to public health guidelines to the affordability or unaffordability of healthcare, are all political decisions. And that is why 1199 members are active voters. That is why we fight for fair and diverse representation in the electoral process. The Voting Rights Act mandates that districts be drawn proportionally to each racial demographics percentage of the population. That legal reality is what the 3-1-5 approach upholds. There is a history in Baltimore County of costly litigation surrounding voting rights. If the Commission and the Council fail to implement a map with a 3-1-5 approach, the county may be subject to yet another lawsuit. This is a lose-lose situation for voters of color who would remain underrepresented, and for all Baltimore County taxpayers who would be forced to foot the bill for a lawsuit that is the result of illegal actions by county officials. We need our county to follow the law and be fiscally responsible. Good stewards of taxpayer dollars should enable our financial resources to go towards important budgetary needs, like following through on the collective bargaining agreement to increase teacher wages, not losing lawsuits and depressing representation. I believe that all of the advocates and commissioners in this room today, regardless of which specific approach we favor, share the same goal of representation and compliance with the Voting Rights Act. So I thank everyone for the great work you are doing to build a more equitable and just Baltimore County. It is so heartening to see democracy in action in this room tonight. With that, I respectfully urge the Commission to release a map that follows the 3-1-5 approach and the County Council to adopt it. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of my fellow commissioners, we'd like to thank all of you who spoke tonight. We will take your words to heart. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.